Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week 7 of the Sustainable Small Farming and Ranching Whole Farm Planning course. Tonight we're going to talk about enterprise budgets to test the feasibility of different enterprises you might be interested in, and a little bit about business planning overall. Next slide, Cinda. So again, please close all of the other programs running on your computer and check your sound. You can call in with the number provided in your welcome email if you're having any trouble, and go ahead and mute your computer if you decide to use the telephone. Please type in your questions for the speakers during their presentation, and that will really facilitate our question and answer session at the end of each presentation. Next slide. So today we have three presenters: Ken Hart, who's with the University of Idaho Extension located in Nez Perce; Barbara Leachman with the Idaho Small Business Development Center. She's located at LCSD down in the Lewiston Valley. Greg Friesdat, who's with Deep Roots Farm. He and his partner Marcy Miller farm here in Moscow, Idaho. And Cinda and I are in the background running the slides. So we're going ahead and getting started with Barbara Leachman. Thank you, Barbara.
Well, I better unmute myself so people can hear. Can everybody hear now?
Yes.
Okay. And do I have control of the slides yet?
Once you click on the mouse, yes, now you have control of the slides, so you can move through them on your own.
Oh, very good. Okay,
Great.
I'm the director with the Region 2 Small Business Development Center down here at Lewis Clark State College. We serve all of Region 2 in Idaho and sometimes some of the folks in southeastern Washington. Been here about 2.5 years, and we do a lot of workshops on small business development and operations and marketing, those kind of things. We also provide business consulting at no cost to clients who make appointments to see us. And we have some good business information resources that might be useful in terms of researching your markets or comparing your business with some of the others that are out there. I know you're all looking at farming, and my BS is in agricultural economics. It's one of my definite areas of interest. So this is my tractor. Has a blade on the front for plowing snow because we're up in the mountains, and I could probably give you lessons on driving that one, but not many others. Just love driving the tractor and having fun tearing up the ground. So a little bit on entrepreneurship. I've got some traits here of successful entrepreneurs according to myownbusiness.org, which is a online place that you can find free courses that I've found to be quite succinct and helpful for people who are looking at getting involved with a business. And when I say business, I think of farms as in general being businesses. Some of them small, some of them profitable, and some of them large, and they can be profitable or not, I guess, depending on how they're run. But brains, capital, and guts is what they talk about as being the primary 3 traits of successful entrepreneurs. And when I think about brains, that's when I'm talking about people who have done the research, who have gained the skills that they need, and have examined the feasibility before they jump in. Now none of us can see into the future. We don't have crystal balls. Before the workshop talk started, we were talking a little bit about the weather, and of course with the types of operations you're looking at, weather can be a big deal. But you still need to make predictions and plan and understand what you're taking on. Capital, that can be financing, that can be described as a whole variety of different things, but let's say you bring some equipment or maybe some equity in your property to the situation, those things can be considered capital as well. And then risk tolerance, your ability to still be able to function and be happy and have the fortitude to get through the ups and downs that go along with farming. I really like to take questions as we're going along, and this is my first webinar, and so I kind of feel like I might be stumbling and that unsure if anybody is really out there, but I do hope you will have some questions and some feedback when we get to that part of the session. So what is an entrepreneur? And this applies to farming as well as other business. You have to be capable of or bring something to the table that not everybody is doing, because it is a competitive business. You are possibly competing internationally when we talk about the price of wheat or beef or even zucchinis. I was just talking to somebody who has a restaurant and wanted to use some of the local zucchinis, and she ended up buying some at the store that were imported from Mexico. So those kind of things are affecting the prices that you might be able to get at market. Innovation, new technologies, your productivity, and you know, even with farming, zucchinis aren't new, but there are new things out there, new types of carrots and things that the customers might be wanting and be willing to pay more for. But bottom line is that you have some kind of competitive advantage that will sustain you long term. Couple of keys to success. This is brand new information I just came across from a Manta survey of business owners, and they said that the #1 viability factor is a strong business plan. So part of what you're learning about tonight is business planning, and you need to examine what it is you're planning to do, and is it going to be viable for the long term. They also mentioned education capital. Again, that's that equity that you have in the way of cash, property, equipment, maybe an education, your networking and mentorship. Oh boy, being able to reach out to other people to help, like the extension service, putting on these workshops is a big deal. 61% said college education is important or necessary. So you're doing this as part of taking this course. You are preparing yourself for success. You're learning about businesses. These are some of the topics that we find that the lack of knowledge about these things can get people into trouble. So the #1 on my list that I see way too often is accounting. And some people, their idea of accounting is filing a tax return at the end of the year. And I just want to say that's not how I view it. I've been in banking, I've been in big business, I've been in small business, I've been in for-profit, nonprofit, and I work with a lot of small business owners. That's people with less than 100 employees, and understanding and keeping up with and having your accounting right is a big deal, and people are not paying enough attention to it in general. Business law, in the way of things like signing contracts, I've seen an awful lot of people lose money, lose their time and work because they didn't understand some things about contracts, such as leases or purchasing property on a contract, or insurance contracts that led them astray, and it happens too often. Managing people. Now, a lot of small farms, you're not looking at hiring people, at least not right away, but oftentimes you get big enough, fast enough that you need help, at least seasonal, and being able to manage. Hiring the right people is a big deal. I was just talking to a small business person recently about a very successful restaurant enterprise in the area, and one of the things they've been doing for a very long time is being very careful about who they hire and how they train them. And that's something that a lot of small business people are not, again, not paying enough attention to. Economics. So what's happening nationally? What are the trends? There's micro and macroeconomics. You know, some of that economics comes down to your business and how the local economy is changing. Possibly, I'm thinking of the farmers markets in Moscow, and you'll hear more about some of that later with Greg. But things are changing. People are thinking differently, and some of that comes down to affecting the local economy. Marketing, how you price and advertise and locate your products in order to get them sold. Marketing covers a lot of territory, and we do have a workshop coming up on that. I did want to mention that if you're interested in looking more into the 2.5-hour workshops we have called Business Basics, there's a whole series of them. You can take one or more. Our state website is www.sbd, excuse me, I started that wrong, www.idahosbdc.org. And if you go to the training link in Region 2, you can see what we're offering in this area if you're located here. And computers. Computers can be great tools. They can also get you really messed up. I'm thinking about QuickBooks in particular. Some people are using spreadsheets, and you'll see some more spreadsheets coming up that can help you with your farm planning and that sort of thing. And of course, the particular skills that you need to do what you're planning to do. For example, taking care of your chickens, or raising a hay and cutting it. And I'm thinking a big one, and I'm thinking about my tractor, and that's the mechanic skills and those general all-around keeping things maintained are very important skills, and you need to have those abilities to keep your costs down. See if I can, it went too fast. Okay, so you might want to brush up a little bit on what some of the laws are and regulations related to your enterprise. And the SBA.gov website has a lot of good information and connections on a whole variety of topics.